So if you can see your patterns before they happen, but you still can't stop them, this episode is for you. And if you're deeply, deeply aware, very self-aware, maybe you're the most self-aware person in like every room that you're in, and yet you're secretly frustrated that your life hasn't caught up with that yet. This episode is for you. And if you are tired of understanding yourself, but reacting the same way over and over and over again, I want you to stay for this episode because it is going to be such a juicy one. Get to know the modern day mystics, the seers, the seekers, the oracles, the witchy women with one foot in divinity and the other deeply rooted in their humanity. Together, we traverse the practical and the energetic. We will excavate the long buried, activate the once dormant, and we never skip the integration. The feminine revolution has risen, and she's calling you by name. Join me, your host, professional priestess Lindsay Schroeder, as we adventure, anoint, alchemize, and experience our deepest desires. This is more than an awakening. It's a remembrance. It's more than a conversation. It's a ceremony. Do you think your problem is that you need to do more work instead of you're missing a specific internal skill? I want to help you recognize why your self-awareness has stopped working and introduce you to what it is that you are actually missing, which is not another tool, not another modality. It's not even insight. It's a missing capacity. I want to talk to you about how to train this capacity. Inner alchemy is one of the things that I have been talking about for years upon years upon years. And at the beginning, at least at the beginning of my work, when manifestation was the hot button, the trauma informed, the somatic practice, the integration, what those are now. Manifestation used to be that in the boom of the COVID era of online business. And I find that manifestation, that desire to create one specific thing, really narrowed our focus and actually created what is now problematic of this like one at a time type perspective that has now left itself in a lot of people's minds and hearts and bodies as I need to do more work instead of I'm missing this specific internal skill that is inner alchemy. So like your self-awareness is now a cage. It stopped working for a long time when a lot of us didn't have the support of therapy, didn't have the support of perspective and insight and emotional intelligence and all of these pieces that for a lot of us now are just standard practice. This individual, oh, I want to create this one thing. And how do I specifically put together these tools, these skills, these modalities in a way that accomplishes that one thing? I want this job. I want this partner. I want this specific, almost material thing. And now a lot of us have gotten to this place where we're like, I don't want to create one specific thing. And the majority of my clients don't just want to create one specific thing. They want to live in a specific way. And so I've talked a lot about already on the podcast, the difference between destination living and living as a means of travel. Like, how do you travel? Happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction, joy, pleasure, being the way that you travel and not a place that you get to. So for today, we are going to talk about inner alchemy, why awareness isn't enough anymore, and what is the solve? What is the solution? What is the answer? What do we do about that? So if you can see your patterns before they happen, but still can't stop them, this episode is for you. And if you're deeply, deeply self-aware, maybe the most self-aware person in the majority of rooms that you're in, but you are secretly frustrated that your life hasn't caught up yet, isn't the self-awareness the answer, the solution? This is for you. And if you're tired of understanding yourself so deeply where it came from, childhood and blah, and all of these pieces and parts, but you're still reacting the same way, I want you to stay. Because awareness, it did for a lot of us, it used to save us. And now it just watches us repeat the same shit over and over and over again. And that's not failure, that's a ceiling. And I would love to help support you in breaking through that ceiling, recognizing that inner alchemy is the solution, is the answer to where self awareness can no longer carry you forward at the level of expanse that you desire. That we do need to grow our capacities and not just our regulation capacities, not just the specifics of one particular thing, but in totality, in this holistic form of inner alchemy. So if you are consistently thinking, I need more healing, and I hear that from so many of you, if you are consistently hearing, I need to process this deeper, if you are consistently telling yourself or hearing from yourself, I need to try harder. Oh, that one gets me all the time. I need to try harder to anything, but also to stay regulated. The trying, I need to do more, I need to try harder. I need to do a better job. Maybe you hear all the time that, oh, I just need to be a little bit more disciplined. I just have to put in a little bit more structure. What about I must have another layer of trauma that I haven't found yet? This constant excavation of self. The problem is not lack of awareness. The problem is a lack of internal authority in that moment of activation. When you see the wave coming, but you're at the point where you can't quite ride it yet. You're not exactly the surfer yet. So you do not lack insight. You do not lack knowledge. You lack alchemical skill. You are not stuck because you're broken, babe. You're stuck because no one taught you how to transmute. And even if you understand logically, or you've been given the knowledge of transmutation, or you've been given the knowledge of alchemy, how to do that in a very specific way to your own self, for your own system, in your own flavor that honors your divine path of service, your soul's blueprint. Inner alchemy is not a one size fits all. It is not just, do you know how to regulate your nervous system? Do you know how to use EFT or NLP to reprogram the subconscious? It is a synthesis. It is an embodiment. It is an integration. And these I know are the buzzwords that you hear all over, but I want to go in deeper so that you can truly, fully understand and know beyond a shadow of a doubt that inner alchemy is the next step for you. So, inner alchemy is the ability to change your internal state in real time. And for a lot of my clients, this actually is not just internal state in real time, but it's also without anything external. Now, I'm not saying that we won't bring back in those external tools, but when you are able to do this completely with just yourself, with your body, with your breath, with your thoughts, with the skill sets that you have at your own fingertips, but that you don't need anything physical in the matter-based dimension, it will completely transform your external reality. Because again, our internal realities are just projecting up and creating our external realities. So inner alchemy is the capacity to transmute the charge. Sometimes that's fear, sometimes that's grief, sometimes that's desire, sometimes that is power without bypassing it or suppressing it. Inner alchemy is the skill of staying inside your own self while the energy moves instead of being moved by it. And we will get deeper and deeper and deeper into this so that you can really understand what it is that I am talking about. Because before inner alchemy, when you're moved by the energy, it might look a little bit like this. Think about, like, I can feel it before anything even happens. Maybe you start to experience it as a tightening in your chest. Maybe your breath gets shallow for no reason and you're not even sure why it's happening. Maybe your jaw locks. Maybe your body starts to lean forward or it starts to lean backward. And you start to sense and feel, and you get that urgency inside yourself that tells you, maybe you hear the thought, maybe you see the thought, maybe you feel your body moving towards, I need to do something immediately, even though nothing has actually gone wrong yet. Maybe somebody says something that's slightly off, a tone, a delay, a look, and suddenly your whole internal world is louder. Maybe your thoughts are racing. Did I do something wrong? How many of us play that over and over? Did I do something? Did I say something? Or was I too much? Was I not enough? Did I? Why does this feel weird? Why does this feel uncomfortable? Or one of my other favorites, I should clarify. I should probably say some more. I should probably get clearer on that with them. Maybe I should just ask, maybe I should just do more. But it is this immediate need and desire to get rid of the sensation that you're feeling, where you are being moved by the energy. You have that sense of like, oh, if I don't do something now, it will get worse. So I should probably like do something right now. Maybe your stomach drops. Maybe your shoulders start to creep up and you feel that tension, or you feel your presence moving further and further, higher and higher into your body. Maybe your hands start to feel buzzy, like you can't sit still. Maybe you tell yourself over and over, I'm being aware. I'm aware of it, but really you're actually bracing. So I want you to think about that text that you send too fast, the time that you over explain in that meeting, the times when you soften what you actually want to say so that nobody gets uncomfortable, nobody has feedback for you, you're not triggering another issue. What about the times that you go sharp, where you get more controlled, more cold, more concise, because that feels safer in some way than feeling exposed, feeling open, feeling more vulnerable. And while you're talking, you're already outside of yourself, kind of watching it happen. And you know that this isn't the version of you that you choose. You know that you're reacting. You know that you're going to regret the way that it lands and what it does and that domino effect, but you can't stop it. And then afterwards, you replay it over and over. You analyze every word and every reaction and every pinch of the face, every looking down. Maybe you feel embarrassed, shameful, or guilty inside your body, like there's heat in your face, like there's that dull ache in your chest. And the worst part isn't that it happened, it's that you felt it coming and you still couldn't stay with yourself long enough to choose something different. I want you to think about if any of that has ever happened to you, if you've ever been in that position, if that is a truth beyond a shadow of a doubt in your mind, in your body, in your energy. And then I want you to come along on this ride with me. Because after inner alchemy, you can stay inside yourself while the energy moves. Now the sensations, they will still come. We're not doing this work to avoid the situations, to avoid the sensations, but it doesn't take you with it. You will feel the same tightening in the chest, maybe. Maybe you will experience the same surge of energy, that same impulse to move, to fix, to explain, to protect. But this time, you take a deep breath. This time you stay. This time you bring the pointer finger to the thumb ever so subtly. You rub them together until you can almost feel the ridges, like grooves, like mountains. You notice the heat rise, but you don't follow it and you don't go to validating it or explaining it. It moves, but it doesn't move you. You feel the urge to speak and you let it pass through the body without turning it into verbal words. You might run them through your mind, consider them, feel into them. Your breath drops you lower and lower. You can feel the out breath elongating. You can feel the depth and the coolness of the in breath coming in. Your feet start to feel heavier on the ground as you drop your grounding cord intentionally down. You might cleanse and clear your own energetic body. You might witness and intend white or golden light. You create space between the sensations and your responses. The energy moves, but you do not abandon yourself to manage it, to chase it. You don't need to send that text right now. You don't need to clarify. You don't need to make the moment mean anything. You're not taking it personally. You're not making assumptions. You let that wave crest and fall inside of you. And 30 seconds later, the intensity is gone. And what's left is clarity. When you speak, it's clean. When you decide, it's calm. When you hold that boundary, it doesn't shake. Not your voice, not your stance, not your belief. You're still aware, but now you're also in command. The difference is subtle on the outside, and for many, they won't be able to see it. But internally, that is a world of difference. Because for the first time, you're not trying to escape the energy. You're not trying to bypass. You're not trying to disassociate. You're not even trying to solve it. You're letting it move through you without letting it move you. You have synthesized your tools and your abilities and your clairs and your knowings. You are working on your own divine path of service. You're working through your own soul's blueprint with all of the support that you have access to, synthesized, weaved into a living expression. This is inner alchemy. And it is something that I have been deeply in love with, something that I've been dedicated to, and something that I've been teaching to any of you, all of you, those of you who will listen, those of you who will receive, and those of you who share in my offerings, my programs, my memberships, my masterminds, my private containers. So inner alchemy is not just a mindset thing. It's not just positive thinking. It's also not spiritual bypassing. It's not endlessly processing the past. And I know a lot of people are stuck in that loop right now. And it's not needing tools every time something happens. And there are a lot of you who are caught in that place. I have to reach for the cards. I have to reach for the pendulum. I have to reach for the crystals. I have to buy another course, that learning without earning cycle. So inner alchemy is the difference between noticing the pattern and being run by it versus noticing the pattern and being able to choose differently anyway. Being able to direct your conscious self and being able to shift the autopilot. Because when you can direct your conscious self over and over consistently, in that way, you are actually shifting your autopilot. And we want to be doing both of those. We want to be doing the conscious work, but we also want it to bleed and deepen into the subconscious so that at some point, and for the majority of our points at some point, our autopilot is no longer just the default, but is our choice, that we have been able to update our software, so to speak, that we are running accurate programming, updated programming, and that you know how to go in there and shift the programming when you so desire. Because for a lot of people, it starts with needing to solve a problem, that like pain point awareness of like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. Oh, that feels out of my control. Oh, I'm not in control. But then you actually can upgrade to this space where it's no longer solving issues and problems. It's going, and a lot of you who have learned EFT from me, at first we're trying to like, okay, what is the 180-degree shift from the negative thing, the shitty situation, the truth right now? Where do I want to go? And after you're working in that for a while, you're like, oh wow, I actually want to go so much further than that. That's not even 90 degrees from where I'm at. I want to go further. I want to go farther. I want to go deeper. And so you can actually get to this place where upgrading your internal software, because you basically are a living computer, a living technology. So how you work with your mind, how you work with your subconscious, how you work with your body, how you work with your somatic, how you work with your vagus nerve, how you work with your cortisol, how you work with your different systems, your energy body, your chakras, your akasha, your lineage, all of the like, ooh, where are my leaks? Where's my trauma? What's happened to me in past and previous lives? all of this needs to be synthesized into a practice that is specifically for you. There is no template that's going to give you, you do this and then you do this and then you do this. It has to be an embodied, a lived wisdom. There has to be a digestion. And a lot of times having this supported and reflected back to you, unparalleled, how much faster, how much easier, how much more efficiently you can go when you have someone who's able to like mirror and respond and help you edit this in real time and put words to the wordless of like, okay, did you feel how that happened right here? Okay, how did that sit in the body? Okay, what do we shift a little bit here? Okay, now we're going to implement. Now we're going to integrate. Okay, you've done that 2 or 3 times. Now, are we consistent with that? Or does that need to change based on things? Where are you? Asking those questions so that you can go, oh no, not like that. Oh yeah, that is. Carrying this into a new skill set, a deepened capacity. So why do self-aware women get stuck here specifically? Because like you are really intuitive. You are extremely emotionally intelligent. You can read rooms, you can read people, you can read dynamics. You're often the regulator for everyone else. But you still have these issues with losing your authority in the 30 seconds after that activation. You know better, and yet you're still doing dumb shit like sending that text. You feel the contraction, and yet you still override yourself so frequently. How many times are you saying yes to things that are no's? You also delay decisions that you already know the answer to. And for my soulpreneur people, this is a big one for you. When you delay a decision, when you delay an inspired action, when you delay that like turnover with your creativity, when your sacral chakra is like, make it, do it, birth it, offer it, and you go over it, that self-awareness of like, oh, I'm going to look at it again. Oh, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to put it in my notes app, but I'm not going to make the move. You delay your decisions when you already know the answer. Okay? It hurts more when you see it fucking coming. It's more exhausting when you know better. Awareness without agency creates this self-betrayal. And when you are operating at these high levels, when you are a healer on the forefront of supporting the collective during literally one of the craziest times in humanity, when you are a woman who would have been burned at the stake how many years ago, and you are more visible than you've ever been in any other lifetime on the internet, speaking truths that got you killed in previous lives. You cannot self-betray. When you tell yourself, I'm going to do this thing, and then you don't follow through, and you make excuses and you edit it, self-betrayal. Like your awareness without your agency, it deteriorates into self-betrayal. And when you do not have that internal authority, when you do not believe yourself, when you cannot trust your knowing, you fuck everything up. You build these cycles that repeat what society has told you. How many of you built your business with the corporate structure? And now you're like, okay, it's financially successful, but it's not juicy. It's not delicious. I'm serving clients and they're getting satisfactory results, but I'm not just overflowing to get on the call. I know how to sell. Maybe you even know how to market a little bit. But there's so much more inside you that you want to be seen for. How many of you are in that position where you're no longer a coach, but you haven't been able to own the healer, the priestess, the medicina? You haven't been able to really own and hone and honor and express to the world your level of depth, your level of sacredness, your level of divinity, of how God moves through your body. So I really want to talk about this core shift from just awareness into alchemy. So awareness is the like, I can see what's happening. And for a lot of us, like, don't get me wrong, awareness is not bad. I don't want to vilify it. It's not wrong, but it is keeping you stuck in that first level. What got you to where you are is not going to get you to the next space. Okay. So alchemy is I can change what happens next. And it is your conscious creator choice. So recognition does not equal regulation. You being able to recognize, oh, this is the pattern. Oh, I'm getting, oh, this recognition does not equal regulation, and understanding does not equal embodiment. Knowledge and embodied wisdom are two completely different things. And insight does not equal authority. Just because you can see, just because you have the knowledge, just because you have the insight, just because you have the awareness does not mean that you have embodied or that you even have access to this level of consciousness that at times flows through you. I'm talking to those of you who can channel, but maybe you don't know where it's coming from and you don't feel like you can stand 10 toes down, chest forward with that information. So inner alchemy is going to train you in faster pattern interruption. I know your pattern recognition is fucking phenomenal. You don't need help with that. They don't teach fucking self-awareness. I teach you what to do with it because you recognize all those patterns, but can you interrupt them? And can you identify a pattern that you're recognizing out here versus a self pattern? Because those are two very, very, very different things. And we can get stuck in this, oh, I can do for others, but I can't do for myself. Inner alchemy is also going to train emotional neutrality where there used to be charge. One of my favorite lectures from Abraham Hicks is where they're talking about your relationship. And the first time I heard it, it triggered the fuck out of me. And the first time I shared it with any of my partners, it triggered the fuck out of them. And it felt so wrong in my head. And yet my body was just like, that's the goal. And I was like, excuse me? Like, that's the goal. In this conversation, Abraham Hicks is saying, like, okay, we're in a relationship, and they're like, nothing you do is ever going to have any effect over me. We're like, you are a sovereign being, and your inner alchemy is so strong that even when the person that you love most, the person that you build your life with, the person that you make decisions with, they don't have effect over that internal state. Now, I'm not saying you don't care about their feelings. I'm not saying that you're not able to feel what they're feeling, but that they don't rip away your sovereignty, that they don't rip away your neutrality, that once again, the energy doesn't move you, it moves through you. There is a difference between identifying I am upset and I'm experiencing upset. I am overtaken by what's going on in my partner's body versus I am aware of what's going on in my partner's body. Inner alchemy trains cleaner decisions. Inner alchemy trains less processing and more movement. And I know that you are stuck in the hamster wheel of processing and processing and processing and defining and understanding and aiming, going back to when was the first and how many time and explaining and oh, your attachment style and oh, childhood trauma and all of these aspects. At some point, the healing in the sense of fixing something that is broken has got to fucking go. Inner alchemy trains a felt sense of internal command where you are able to command yourself because your soul, your spirit is different from your body, is different from your mind. And so who's controlling the controller is different than the first person player in the third dimension, tapped into the matrix. And so inner alchemy is this piece that connects those two, where you are the person at the controller and you are also the being in the matrix, the being in the game. So, like, what does this look like in real life? I want you to be able to feel it. So we talked a little bit about that text that you know you're going to regret that you send anyway. Or the moment that you over explain instead of holding the line. This one took quite a bit for me to be able to do. And the way that this showed up for me is when I am pitching, when I'm offering, when I'm in what a lot of people like to call sales calls, that there is this desire to over explain. There is this desire to over prove. And so much of my own, even marketing, had to shift from proving. Oh, I want you to see the value of this so much. I want you to see how much I put into this. I want you to not look at me like a snake oil salesman, or, we're hearing Amanda Francis get all this flack on the Real Housewives of like, oh, it's an MLM and all of these things, that it is so easy for us to go into over explaining mode, especially around our healing modalities, especially around our consciousness, especially around our gifts. And so that moment where you feel that, can you hold the line instead of over explaining and literally diminishing your authority, when you could just take a breath, hold a pause? What about when you abandon your desire just to keep the peace? Something that you want, and yet somebody outside of you, how they're reacting or how they're holding or what they're carrying, where you abandon your true desires, your divine path of service, your soul's blueprint, the fullest expression of your gifts and abilities, just to keep the peace. That keeps you small. That's a ceiling. What about the moment that you tolerate misalignments because you're tired? Oh, this one for me is big. It has been a whole process for me to be able to shift into, what does it mean to be a priestess all the time? That, like, tolerating misalignment just because I'm tired, or just because I don't want to rock the boat, or just because, oh, they're not going to understand, or, oh, they're going to see me as too much, or, oh, they're going to roll their eyes at me. This happens a lot when I think about the father of my child and navigating a co-parent who lives much more tapped into the matrix and in the third dimension. This happens a lot of times when I'm talking to family or to loved ones who don't really understand what it is that I'm saying. I can go into that over explaining. I can tolerate the misalignment just because I'm tired, just because I don't want to go through the whole thing over and over again. And inner alchemy has been the thing that has shifted that, because the feeling passes, and the feeling passes quickly, but the consequences don't. And so inner alchemy is, once again, growing this capacity, is this synthesis of skill set. It's not just one particular thing. It's not just one answer, one solution. It's not just a template. It is a synthesis, a living synthesis of all of your gifts, of all of your modalities, of all of the knowledge into this. Let me digest this. Let me practice this. Let me hold this for myself and have this reflected back to me. And adaptability, true alchemy, you are transmuting inside your own container. Inner alchemy is a capacity. It's not a concept. And capacity is built through repetition, containment. We need those bookends. We need those edges, and feedback. You do not rise to your insight. You fall to your level of embodiment. And so if you have been falling to your level of embodiment, to your level of digestion, to your level of alchemy, I am talking directly to you, babe. And I want to be talking. I'm so excited to be talking to you, because there is an answer. There is a solution. There is a solve. Now, is it turnkey? No. But part of what makes it so beautiful that it's not turnkey is that it is for you, of you, by you, through you. So that it's not just about me handing you that answer, about going, here's how you do inner alchemy in these 5 steps. Here's the template. Here's my signature process. No, it's about you, of like, do you feel that coming in? And do you remember when you learned that? And you hear it, or you see it at the bottom of the ticker, but you don't implement, you don't integrate. And do you know when you reach for that big solution over here instead of that little minute solution that moves you actually forward? Let's focus on that inspired action right here and right now that actually moves us towards that bigger goal. So you need enough lived moments to practice inside real life. And so for a lot of us on the spiritual path, a lot of us learned how to ascend, how to get up and out, and yet how to descend into humanity, how to have enough of these lived moments to practice inside the real life is not only difficult, is not only hard, but it's very scary. And we've avoided it in a lot of ways. You need support while your nervous system rewires. You need to be held as much as you need to be doing, and you need consistency, not just intensity. So at the beginning, a lot of us were seeking the intensity. In the beginning, a lot of us who were pursuing a spiritual awakening or called to a spiritual awakening, desiring to meet God, desiring to meet your guides, desiring to activate these sacred remembrances inside of you, we were seeking and searching and desiring intensity. But you need consistency, not just the intensity. So this is exactly why I created the I Am Mastermind. And I have been running the I Am Mastermind since 2022. And it's not just about learning more. And especially now in the day and age of AI, you can get knowledge anywhere. Like, if you prompted correctly, ChatGPT could give you so many of these overviews. If you had the right books, if you had the right podcast, you probably already read the books. Like, honestly, you probably already listened to the podcast. It's not about learning anymore. It's about becoming someone who can hold more, becoming someone who has practiced the reach for this, the choose this, the decide this, the deep breath, the moving the fingers together, the alchemy, the practice of coming to your own internal altar and alchemizing over and over and over and over again. I can't tell you guys how many times I've dropped a fucking grounding cord. I can't tell you how many times I've released what no longer serves me. I can't tell you how many times I've decalcified the pineal gland. I can't tell you how many times I've had to sit in silence and do the active, passive, neutral work of allowing all things to move through until they settle and fade so that you can hear the voice of God, so that you can feel your own intuition. And for me, my splenic authority that is so quiet, is so subtle, and only says it one time. I created this incubator, this container, because this is so needed in our world. And for so many of you who are called to supporting the collective, who have these sacred gifts of remembrance, like if you would have been burned at the stake for what you're doing, for what you're saying, for who you fucking are, this was built for you when you are stuck in the hamster wheel, when you are stuck at level 1 and you are ready to go up to level 2. Like, I don't want you to be talking about the patterns forever. I want to train what happens next. This is a living workshop. This is practical implementation. There is consistent reflection. There is being held accountable. There is practicing and trying. There is stumbling. There is falling. There's being and becoming, and not just talking, and the endless cycles of learning and knowing. This is for you if you are a woman who already sees her shit. This is for you if you are done looping over and over and over again. I call this Roomba, where we're just bashing into the wall, just trying to do our own work. Just want to get my work done. I just want to like follow through on my directive. And yet this is for you if you want cleaner leadership, internally and externally, because it starts internal. If you are ready to lead a team, this is a great choice for you if you are at the precipice in your own business where it's time to start hiring, and not just that like one-off contractor, but like actual employees, and you want to lead the way that you always dreamed of leading, like back when you had your corporate job and you're like, I wouldn't do it like that and I wouldn't do it like that. When you are ready to step into that true clean embodied leadership role, not just managing the contractors, but truly like hiring people, choosing people, and giving them the reins, giving them the space, allowing them to shine in their truth and in their zone of genius. This is a great way to build that capacity. This is also for you if you are ready to be practiced, not just perceptive. So now, for a lot of us projectors, this is a big, big thing because we can see it all. And yet a lot of us find ourselves in that loop of like, I see it, I know the what, and yeah, how the fuck? How? Not just perception, but lived practice, embodied wisdom. Now, this is not for you if you want to process endlessly. If you just want like that, like I come to my therapy appointment every week and it's almost like a friend hangout where I'm just like catching my therapist up on all of the things. I'm like, yeah, maybe I like saw it a little bit sooner and like, oh yeah, maybe it was a little bit calmer, but like you are processing endlessly. This is also not for you if you want validation, but you don't actually want to shift or change. So, like having the same conversation over and over again or being in practice and the moment that you come out of practice and you're feeling so amazing, you're feeling so embodied and we've shifted all the things and the first thing that you let out of your mouth is like, "Oh yeah, I felt great," but then what do you choose? What do you focus on? What do you follow through on? What are you consciously creating? Inner alchemy is asking you to change, to transmute, to alchemize. This is also not for you if you want insight, but without the application. If you want to be constantly told what to do, but that you're not actually going to move through the how you do it, not for you. So if you felt calmer listening to even me get heated, this is recognition. And if something in your body relaxed, that's memory. And if you already know that this is the next step, I really want you to trust that. And I invite you to learn more about the I Am Mastermind. I invite you to feel into this timing at the beginning of 2026 as we are leaving the year of the snake. And, the majority of you understand that the Gregorian calendar is not like the true turnover point. We still have a little bit of that time to be releasing and making the most of this potent era and stepping into the year of the horse. In this age of AI, knowledge is not a fucking enough. You can go get knowledge anywhere, but I will teach you how to integrate and how to embody for you in particular. I invite you to apply if this is a clean yes for you. The I Am Mastermind is truly one of my most proudest, favorite pieces of work, of a distillation of so many of my gifts and my guides and guardians and my support and my transmutation and my inner alchemy. Inner alchemy is the skill of becoming the person who can hold the life that you want. So a lot of people are talking about, how do I make the money? How do I get the partner? How do I start the business? How do I do all these things? But do you know how to hold it? How many of you are financially successful and yet you're not fulfilled and yet you're not happy and you're not in deep pleasure and you're not in juiciness and you're not a living expression of your sensuality and eroticism? If you're not turned the fuck on by your business, you're missing this piece. Okay. So I want to paint you a little picture. So you're on a call where a big decision is being discussed. Maybe this is money. Maybe this is leadership. Maybe this is direction. Old you would feel the energy spike. Obviously, you're aware. The pressure, the expectation, the subtle fear of being misunderstood. The maybe I'm too much. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I'm making the wrong call. Maybe your body would tighten. And you, like we've talked about, you go to that over explain. You go to that prove yourself to try and smooth things out. Now you feel that same urge and you stay inside yourself. Your spine elongates a little bit, your shoulders go back, your breath deepens. Maybe you even activate your microcosmic orbit. You feel it flowing through, but you do not get taken by it. You let the silence hang for a beat longer than what used to be comfortable. You don't rush to fill that space. Your nervous system doesn't collapse. It doesn't overperform. When you speak, it's simple. It's direct. It's unapologetic. And it's taken a bit to get here because for a while you thought complicated was better. You thought dancing around was better. You thought smoothing it out was better, but it's not. Now you choose. Now you know. Now you own simple, direct, unapologetic. Not because you're trying to be powerful, but because you're no longer leaking energy trying to manage how it lands. There's a difference between trying to be powerful and being embodied in your power. You can hold authority without tension. And that's new. What about this one? Something you actually want, something you really, really want is within reach. We'll go with a relationship. We can also say an opportunity, or maybe it's like a new level of visibility, but let's say a relationship. So old you would feel that familiar activation, that it's close. Like, what if I lose it? What if I mess it up? Maybe I should pull back. Maybe I should stay cool. Maybe I should protect myself. Like all of these options, as if you choose one, as if there's a right and a wrong. You'd create distance right when things start to feel good because you can't handle that level of feeling good. You don't think that kind of pleasure is for you. There's shame, there's guilt, there's anxiety, there's control. Oh, the control. But now the sensation still comes. The vulnerability, the intensity, that edge. But you don't contract. You stay present in your body while wanting what you want. You don't perform indifference. You don't rush to secure it or push it away. You let yourself enjoy it while it's happening, while it's unfolding. You can hold pleasure without flinching, without feeling inadequate, without having to overly prove to yourself that you're worthy. And that's different. What about you noticing something that isn't aligned? Maybe this is a client dynamic. Maybe it's a team member of yours. Maybe it's a commitment that you've outgrown. Old you would clock it immediately because, again, you're super self-aware, and then you'd live it for months, maybe even years. You would explain it away. You would manage around it. You would tell yourself you can handle it. But now your awareness does not turn into endurance. You do not give yourself a badge of honor for being able to endure it any longer. You feel that contraction in the body and you trust it. You don't need to make it dramatic. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing. You don't need to justify it to yourself 100 different times. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to process it. You don't have to mirror reflect on it. You address it cleanly, early, without charge, bringing in that neutrality, not from irritation, but from self-respect, from inner authority. You can hold a life that fits yourself without shrinking. You do not need to shrink to stabilize it any longer. These are just a few of the examples of lived experiences of women who have been through the I Am Mastermind, who have truly faced that self-awareness is no longer enough, and that they have learned so much, that they have so much in their field that they were born with that will forever be theirs, that they're human, studied, learned, collected, all of their treasures, all of their modalities, all of their gifts, all of their availabilities, all of their clairs, all of their connections. Everyone that is here, all of your guides and guardians, your ancestry, your Akasha, you have access to so much. And yeah, what is the portion of that you use? If you want to get access to synthesizing, embodying, digesting, and alchemizing with all of that, then I want you to apply for the Inner Alchemy Mastermind. I want you to have access to Inner Alchemy. I want all of us to have access to Inner Alchemy, this missing piece that I wish was taught in school and that maybe one day will be. And even if it's not, that I will teach my child and that you will teach your child. I pray so consistently to the feminine face of God that I can be the mouthpiece for Inner Alchemy in a way that ripple effects through the collective, that supports embodied leaders into their own digestion, into their own access to all of their power. All of the power of your many lives, all of the power of your ancestry, all of the power of that which is here to support you and is here for your highest and greatest, all of the power of your multitude of higher selves, and calibrating your nervous system so that you can anchor that in so that you can hold it. Because I've built a life beyond my wildest dreams and I've fucking lost it because I couldn't hold it. And I did this and I've gone through this and I've been through this so that I could teach you how to not do it. So that I can teach you the missing step. This is the path of the priestess. We stumble and we fall and we hurt and we grieve and we mourn and we oftentimes fuck shit up so far beyond what is necessary so that I may be an embodied leader. I've been given the gift of this sight to be able to see your divine path of service, to be able to see your soul's blueprint so that we can synthesize each of these gifts and modalities and offerings and run them through your own system in a way that allows you to alchemize density into the divine. And when you do this internally, your entire external reality shifts because life is living through you. You are not stepping into it. Life is experiencing itself through you. So what you think and your capacity and your energetic body, all of these pieces and parts, all of this affects your third dimensional reality. So if you are ready to consciously create, if you are ready to take this missing piece and run with it, I want to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here with me today, guys.